Peace, appreciation, and abundance, ladies and gentlemen. Peace, appreciation, and abundance. It's your boy AS3, baby, the host with the most. Y'all already know what time it is. And welcome back to another episode of Talk About It TV, episode 17. You know what I mean? Hope everybody good out there. I got a very super special guest on the line with me right now. This brother is an activist, he's a business owner, and he's an ex basketball player as well, y'all. Listen, I got a special guest, Tyrone Hollywood Welch on the line, y'all. 914, stand up. What's good, baby?
Stand up. No, I won't fall, man. Ollie,
Yo,
thank you for having me on your platform, my brother. Appreciate you, man. Loving the things that you're doing and will continue to do in the future.
yo, man, thank you, man. I appreciate that, brother. Word, man. So, yo, we gonna get right into it, man. Talk about it TV, baby. In terms of you right now, man. So, first of all, how's everything been? How's life right now?
Life is life, and right now, the struggle never stops. So, I'm still maintaining, taking it day by day.
No doubt, plugging away, brother, plugging away. I appreciate you, man. So let everybody know in the building, man, exactly where you from, man. Where were you born and raised, bro?
Born and raised Peekskill, New York. That's in Westchester County, 914. Bowman Towers, project buildings. Yeah, that's where I come from during the 80s.
Mm, no doubt, man. So in terms of being in Bowman in the '80s and coming up, would you say it was multicultural out that way in terms of the people and the surroundings?
Not at that time, not in the 80s. Um, you know, uh, Growing up in Bowman at that time, I would say 98% were black people in my project building. And unfortunately, again, growing up around that time, that was during the crack epidemic. So, during the height of the crack epidemic. So, unfortunately, I saw a lot of things as kids that I shouldn't have seen. Probably didn't really know the effects of what was truly going on around me at that time.
Mm. So around that time, when aside it being dangerous and things like that, because every place got their own mixture of things going on, especially when it comes to being in the projects or being in the hood. Would you say that you lost some important people in your life to maybe things of the streets or anything of that nature? Have you lost any people?
Absolutely. My father, biological father, he died to the street life. Again, he died, I believe he was around 33, 34 years old. He was
Mm.
on drugs, real bad, at that time, again, during the crack era, and heroin, I believe. He died of AIDS. I only have two
Wow.
memories of him. One time I remember him playing in the park, and another time I was, at the time I was living on the sixth floor. 6D was my apartment number at that time in Bowman Towers. He came off the elevator. We both looked at each other like we recognized each other, but wasn't sure. He walked in, started walking towards my door. Um, he knocked on the door. My mother called me in because I was playing in the hallway with one of my cousins, and she asked me did I know who he was, and I was said no, and she said it's your father. So
Mm.
that was probably only other memory that I have of him, and he stayed that night at the house. And and I woke up, he was gone. I never seen him again. Like 2, 3 years later, I was told he had died out in California.
Oh wow, man.
And
I'm
as
about to say
far
this.
as
Word.
yeah, and as far as other things, yeah, I have friends that lost their life to the street game early. Again, that's just part of the stuff that comes with it. Not too many people I call real friends. You're one of them. I would say that
Appreciate you.
with confidence that you are a real true brother and a real true friend. And there's not too many other people I really call true friend. One of my other friends I lost, name was Jerry. and unfortunately, at that time, him and I wasn't speaking at the time, but that was still my brother, and anybody that know me and or knew us, because it was a group of us. That's how we just were. We would. We was thick as thieves, but we won't talk to each other for a week or two, and then we would fight each other, and then that's how it was. And then my other brother Marvin, he died maybe like a year or two after Jerry. There was a little, and again with him, I wasn't speaking to him at that time. The only little piece that I had at that time, or um, piece I had with that time was the fact that I was able to say actually goodbye to him. Real quick story. Me and another great friend of mine, who I consider a real true brother, L.A. We was both going in to see him in his room at the same time. There was other people that was there. We was going to say a prayer for him, and before we did that, L.A. Larry, my brother, he stopped it and said, "Yo, before we do this, Ty, you got to make this right. Go talk to Marvin again." And Marvin was on his deathbed. And he's like, "Yo, you got to make this right, bro. You got to make this right." And I talked to him, and I appreciate him for doing that. And maybe like a few days later, I went back up to the hospital to see him. One of the few times it was just basically me there. I had maybe like 30 minutes of talking to him, and and I remember the nurse saying, "Hey, we gotta, if you can go in the waiting room, we gotta turn him, like clean him and whatever have you, flip him on the side." And when I was in the waiting room, there was a few people there that was waiting to see him, and there was a cold blue in his room. We all ran there to see him, and by the time we got there, they was trying to, he was trying to resuscitate him to bring him back to life. He passed. So I was, out of all his friends and family, I was literally the last person to have a convo with him, and I felt that was good and needed for my soul. Again, although I wasn't speaking to my brother at that time, anybody that know how we all grew up in that circle, that was just us, and there was never no love lost. And I love them and all my other fallen brothers and sisters.
Now, just to ask a quick question on what you just brought up, was he able to be coherent to receive the information that you gave him, or was it a situation where he
I
was knocked out?
um you know I'm not really sure. I believe, if I remember, they put him like in a coma or something like that, induced coma or whatever have you. Um, and I believe that to me, in my heart, and what I believe and how I feel, that he was still able to hear. They say one of the last things that goes is your hearing. So he was still there. Although he was hooked up to the all the machines, and that was what was keeping him alive. But I still believe that he was able to hear. So, with that, that gave me some peace.
Mm. No, that's what's up, man. And it's good that you even did that, because a lot of people there tend to be situations of this magnitude, and they don't get to speak to that person, or they'll have a bad falling out, and then all of a sudden the person is not there anymore, and then people get ruined a lot mentally for the rest of their life by not making amends in the sense of that. So, and I
Correct.
appreciate you expressing that on the platform, bro, because that's big and
Correct.
that's important, man.
Correct. And I don't really talk about that like that, man. But on yours, I'm just gonna keep it as honest and open as I possibly can, my brother.
No doubt, appreciate you, man. So, in terms of you coming up and the projects and things of that nature in the 914, we also, well, if people are living under a rock or not, you've had some significance in the basketball field, coming up in high school, junior high, things like that. You want to explain and talk to everybody a little bit about your basketball experience?
I'll talk a little bit about it. I'm far removed from that, but I played for
No.
Peekskill High School basketball, and if you want to say I was a star or whatever have you, I did what I did, and on the court. Unfortunately, like a lot of black athletes in the community, we might excel off on the court, but not off the court. And I had those scholarships of certain teams, of certain universities, knocking down the door. Your Moorhead State, um, University of Nebraska, Cincinnati.
Mm.
To play for the Bearcats. South Florida. um, Grambling State. Even had got received one letter from North Carolina State. The Wolfpacks at that time, they was a powerhouse, and I just didn't do what I was supposed to do in school, so that was no longer an option. And then when I went to junior college upstate with a friend of mine who also was on the team, I went to Cayuga Community College in Auburn, New York, and I think it was like the 14th game of the season. I tore my ACL, and I was averaging a double double, 14 points, 11 assists. And at that time, when you tear your ACL, especially when you're in college, it was like career ending, and that was it. And that was the end of my quote unquote hoop dreams after that.
Wow, no doubt. At least you was able to, at least experience that. There's still a lot of people who love to play ball, but some get to the highest level, some don't. And like we had talked about before, off air, it's very, very small window of people who actually make it to the NBA and things of that nature. So it's always good to have a backup plan when it comes to that. But at least you was able to experience that for yourself. Now transitioning from the basketball, as you got older, wiser, and things of that nature, you've been able to get this business that you have called Hiking While Black, and I wanted to talk to you about that in particular. What's going on with the Hiking While Black?
Well, Hiking One Black, as you see, I'm repping the logo right now. We had the store up, but we got to make a few changes to it, and it's going to be back up real soon. As you see, I got the hat, Hiking Wild Black, the shirt, Hiking Wild Black, the merch
Mm,
and everything else. And Hiking Wild Black is something that I started along with my girlfriend at the time. So basically, what it is, and again, this is trademark. I actually had a trademark, so you had to put in some dollars. But I look at it as an investment. And what it is hiking while black is something that me as a black person, right? And it's not only limited to black people because I have so many different people from other ethnicities and backgrounds that have been in my videos. You can go on YouTube and put in hiking while black, and you can see some of my videos and see everyone from all backgrounds in there. So basically, it's something where I was dealing with a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety at the time, and I needed an outlet. And it was recommended to me that I should try hiking. And I was a little hesitant about that. Then eventually, I started hiking, and it became very therapeutic for me. And the stress that I was feeling before, as soon as I started hiking, getting into my hike, and just coming one with nature, and especially get to the top and see a view, even if there was no view, just to get lost in the woods, I felt 100 times better. And I recommend that for anybody, that's just dealing with everyday struggles. For me, it worked. It might not work for you, but for me, hiking has actually worked. And again, it's just me as a black person talking about my experiences, but anybody of any race is more than welcome to come and join along and hike with me.
wow, man, that's what's up. That's also a good look, bro, to be able to be involved with that because it's also health wise too. It helps your health. You know what I'm saying? The more people that
Absolutely.
you can get to hike with you, the better off they'll be for their health reasons. So
Uh,
that's
and
that's
I and I
that's in a
tell
sense giving back. You know what I
And I
mean?
tell exactly, and I tell the people, and I did a little hike with kids, a few hikes with kids, and I tell people, I realize that not everybody can do a hard, strenuous hike, 10-mile hike. Even if we just do a little hike that's a half a mile, and there's no inclines, no hills, no nothing. It's just a regular walk. I'm down to do that too. That counts as a hike as well. It's just getting out and getting active, like you say, being healthy and exercising. And again, hiking is a space for everyone. It's not just for white people or just for black people or just for rich. Hiking is a space for everyone.
Has there ever been a time when it came to your brand for Hiking Wild Black that you were ever pinpointed in a negative, condescending way when it came to the brand from anyone in terms of you pushing it or whatever the case may be? Have there been people from other races that have given you a hard time?
I will say 99, 96, 7%, 97% of the interactions I have with people from other races has been positive. They seem open minded, curious about it, supportive. They took my information because I would have my business cards, and we talked about different hikes, and that's where I would meet other people hiking, and we would set up a hike. But there have been one or two times, yes, I will say, one time in Herkimer County. I heard somebody say something derogatory. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
heard a few people say some racist things in there, and even on one of the hiking sites on Facebook. Um, One of the hiking sites. I don't know if it was one of the hiking in Adirondack or hiking in the Hudson. I'm not sure. I went hiking with a female friend, a white female friend, and we took a picture together. I posted, my merchant, my attire, and everything was hiking while black. And you've seen a lot. Most majority of the comments there were negative, because they just seen the name hiking while black and they took it as just only a black thing and whatever have you. And they had their own, you know, uh, opinions on it, and that's cool. But I know most of those people didn't even watch any of my videos, because if they did, they probably may not have felt that way, and it was just they just saw the pictures and they ran with that. So again, for the 96% of the time, it's positive, energy.
Hey man, that's what's up, man. It's all about bringing out positive press and doing as much as you can. So I appreciate you for even doing that as well, man. You giving back and doing it in a positive way. So that's what's up. So
Correct.
as we veering off from the hiking while black, um, little do people know y'all can just go to YouTube and type that in and everything will pop up. You can see the videos. Now as we drift into you becoming an activist, which is something very important for the black community and for all communities really. Are you just for the black community when you doing your activism thing, or is it just for everyone? And have there been any couple of projects or things that you've been working on? You know what I'm saying? I do want to let you know that I do know and I heard about the situation with you having a suit or something like that going on, but we can't really dive too deep in that. Maybe off the air. But is there anything you got going on in terms of that?
Well, it's a lot of great questions. Sum 'em up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I can talk about my second active lawsuit that's going on there federally right now. If you type in my name, Tyrone Welch versus the city of Peekskill, basically suing my employer for my freedom violation of my freedom of speech. So just so you know, there is really no such thing as freedom of speech in
Mm.
America. And even though America has the propaganda of democracy, this is not a democracy country. Nowhere near in the Constitution doesn't say democracy. Nowhere. I mean, if you look, there's no the word democracy is not there, but they give the illusion that it's actually there, or this is a democracy country,
Mm.
but it's not. So now.
Right. Talk about it. Talk about it.
you know, now, I got that. What was your other two questions again? Because I was gonna go in more, but I'm not gonna, go into that. What was your other
Well,
two questions?
aside from anything, well, I mean, above all, it's about just trials and tribulations, and you trying to do something to impact the community. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter what, no matter which which way we look at it, there's always going to be those trials and tribulations. So I just wanted you to
Absolutely.
touch on, you know what I mean, if there was any besides the lawsuit that had you like kind of like, maybe I mean I want to do this shit no more. If you ever felt like that.
There have been times it gets frustrating. You get depressed because it's like you looking at people who are in a position of power, whether if it's local or national level, and it's like, why don't you want to do the right thing? Um, and the question you had was if I'm for just black people. I'm for anyone that's being oppressed, but I must say I am for my peoples first. I am for black people first, because historically speaking, we have been the most oppressed, most marginalized, and
Mm.
most exploited, and in history. That's not even a debate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Talk
Um,
about it.
but but I'm a human as well, and I do still speak out on other issues if it's not really affecting black people per se, because it probably had or probably will. And again, just general. I'm not for anybody being oppressed. So I'm definitely a leader in the sense of just speaking truth to power, and just being a free thinker, and that's my uh that's my point that I want to put out. Yes, I'm a black man. Yes, I'm outspoken. How, but with that being said, what the powers that be, what they fear is a free thinker, because when you're a
Mm,
free thinker, you don't go with the program. If you're a free thinker, you're not being trained or indoctrinated to believe X, Y, Z, and the fifth or whatever have you. You have a mind on your own, and you're willing to make change and look at the power structure and challenge that. You know,
mm-hmm.
but I faced my adversities, and yes, there's been times where I wanted to quit because or just give up and cry and whatever have you, but I haven't. That's just because I just can't do it. And I want people to know that's wanting to be an active or wanting to dive into this, realize that you are literally putting your life on the line. The first thing they'll try to do is they'll try to have you come on board and sell your own peoples out, and when that don't work, they'll try to come after your livelihood. And when that doesn't
Mm,
work, they'll send death threats. And when that doesn't work, they'll try to assassinate you. That's just how it
mm.
is for anyone that's really in the fight. Anyone that's a grassroots activist.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. And that's deep because we all went through so many for the past. We can go back to hundreds of years. There's always been someone or a few people who tried to make a difference in some way. Some of them ended up being famous, some of them wasn't, but they still was able to do their part. So I appreciate you for just being a part of the conversation and doing your part when it comes to giving back and helping in that way, bro. And what a lot of people may or may not know, you have a podcast as well. You know what I'm saying? Now on your podcast, are you doing a lot of your activism things through that podcast? How are you blending it together?
1,000%. When I first started off my podcast, I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go because, as you said, I did play basketball, so I wanted to keep it sports. But I said there's more important things to talk about than sports as it pertains to our people. I have a lot of revolutionaries on my page. Like I said, there's actually there's Sister Lisa Davis, Makimba X. I had on a local brother from Peekskill, Kwame Madden. I have the Yahuru movement. With Chairman Dr. Omali Yesateri, who was the first public activist to talk about reparations for Black people back in 1991. Now he's
Mm,
currently him along with two other white people in his organization, brother Jesse Neville and sister Penny Hess, is being charged. They're basically going to trial as we speak right now, facing 10 to 15 years for so-called colluding with Russia. These are trumped up false charges that they're facing. And, just because they're organizing and they've been strategizing and they have a movement that is not only probably nationwide, but worldwide, where, we want to liberate the people. So I've had him on there. I had Dr. Alice Green on there, who's probably one of the most known activists in New York history. I've had her on my
mm,
podcast. So I've had all these different revolutionaries in there. European Jewish guy by the name of Ike, who's part of the Cuba C program. He's again a socialist movement. So I noticed while having all these activists on my platform, my views started to go down. So that tells you that the
mm.
powers that be are messing with the algorithm, but that still won't stop us. We're still gonna get this information out. Again, this is a never ending struggle. When you get into this and you 100% committed, this is a never ending struggle.
Mm.
To try to liberate uh your peoples and stop being oppressed.
Oh wow. Yeah, appreciate you with the realness, man. And secondly, like when it comes to the town of Peekskill in particular, do you feel like there was ever anyone? Because we came up there and it was rough and we had a lot of things going on. But for the most part, since from when we were kids, see, a lot of people don't know neither. Me and this brother go way back in terms of us being in church heavy with singing. We was in the travel choir. We had a lot of things going
Correct.
on, so we was living double lives and doing a whole lot of other things. But at the end of the day, in the city of Peekskill particularly, have you ever felt like they did anything to change the game or to change the community? And do you feel like it's being changed now?
It's definitely being changed now, but it's not being changed for the better. If you anybody that's from Peekskill or familiar with Peekskill, if you haven't been to Peekskill in a while, take a stroll through, look at everything what's going on, all the development. And not that growth is bad. I want to make that very clear. I actually have a small little program, small business called beautification, not gentrification. So I'm all for beautifying the neighborhood, but I'm
Mm,
not uh 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 I'm not with gentrifying it to where you kicking out poor people, poor, especially poor black people, and then kicking us out and raising rent, to where it's something astronomical, and calling it low income, when reality is low income now is $150,000 a year or something like that. Who is that really low income to? That's not low income to your average Walmart workers, or your garbage men, or whatever have you. So a lot of things is going on in Peace Scale now that it's not really for the best. The college center, the canteen, when you talk about us growing up there, now that's just basically going to go to the Boys and Girls Club. And from my understanding, Boys and Girls Club is a program where they have basically like a membership. So now you got people and people families in Bowman Towers or Dunbar, which they're trying to get rid of, Bowman Towers. They have to pay to get into the canteen because it's a membership,
mm,
where the canteen, the College Center, was free for us to go into. This was a safe haven place, and now it's going to a Boys and Girls Club, where now they're gonna be their kids are gonna be charged to come in there.
wow.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I can go on and on about that. But
Yeah.
I'm not, but as it pertains to P skill, it's not getting. I don't see how it's getting better. It's not getting better.
Well, what I can ask you is for 2024, with all of the things that's going on, we understand that there's so much going on, negative energy everywhere. We try to bring the positive light to any and every situation possible to make better for our children and the kids coming up. But I wanted to ask you specifically, how do you feel in terms of our development as a people, in terms of you with the activism thing, but us as black people, do you feel like we're getting better? Do you feel like um, there's some things we could work on? Like, what would you suggest in terms of us coming together to really do a lot better than we always have?
This is a very ooh. This is okay. Do I feel like we're getting better? No. What we do is we look at symbolisms,
Mm,
illusions. Look at Oprah. Look at Jay-Z. Look at Tyler Perry. Look at Kevin Hart. Right? Look at all
mm,
these. Look at Michael Jordan. Look at these few black billionaires. And then the media projects it as this, you know, um, this is how black people are doing better because now you got a few billionaires now. When reality, we're doing worse, right? Our kids are failing more, dropping out more, pregnancy's higher, mass incarceration is higher, miseducation is higher. All these different things are getting worse. So,
mm,
I once posed a question to my audience, and I asked them, I wanted our youth. I asked the youth a question basically, and people our age, and a few elders. Can you name? Can you tell me who Dr. Joseph Ben Yekinen is, Dr. Ivan Van Sertimer is, Professor John Henry Clark, and Dr. Sheikh Diop? And can you
mm,
and can you tell me at least one book they wrote? And
mm,
none of the kids, nobody was able to tell me anything. A book they wrote, let alone they didn't even know who they were. So that you can imagine they couldn't even tell me a book.
mm.
But if we was to ask, but I asked those same kids, tell me what's going on in Love and Hip Hop, they was able to break it down and tell me.
See, that's exactly the problem, which a lot of us all know by now, especially in 2024.
That's a big problem,
You
bro.
know,
That's a big problem. I just think we need more education. We need to get back into having different programs in that will really benefit our kids. Because everybody's not gonna make it to the NBA. That's just reality. It's a small little chance. But we could have more engineers. We could have more construction workers. We could have, as a program, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, and mathematics. We should be supporting those type of programs to have our kids have all these resources that we're lacking.
yeah. See, there's a thing too that I know that I've been able to experience for years just from watching and observing, right? And when it comes to kids nowadays who don't go outside and play as much like we used to back in the day, they end up growing up on their iPad and their social media and the phone and things like that. They can watch or have a dad in their life or have mom and pops in their life, whether they're doing good or not. They'll be able to look at daddy when he comes home from a long day of work and doing all that he do for the family. They don't really respect that. They rather look at what they see in the movies and what they see on their phones and tablets to a point where they start looking up to the wrong frequency. And because they're looking up to the wrong frequency, even the real superheroes like your parents is not even getting the credibility like they should. And it's a sad situation, but it's true. And a lot of people don't even look at it from that simple standpoint. To like when it comes to looking up to someone, you should be looking up to your dad if he's doing what he's supposed to do as a father, instead of looking up to Kevin Hart, who you may not never see in your life. See what I'm saying? So that's the type of energy that we're dealing with. But I'm glad
and
you
and
brought that up.
and in the black community, we are the only race where our entertainers are our voices. In the white
Mm,
community, you don't see Brad Pitt being or George Clooney being a voice of what's best for white people. In the
right.
in the Hispanic community, you don't see Selma Hayek, making rules and political moves. You don't see that, but only in the black community do we have our celebrities being the voice, and that's the problem because majority of them don't come from grassroots activism. Majority of them don't know a single thing about the real struggle,
Right.
and like I said, there's just the four people I named. They won't. I'm sure a lot of them wouldn't even know who they are. So that's where the issue does. Some of the issue lies at.
Yeah. And when it comes to these people in particular, brother, not to be, rude but it is what it is. It's real, it's real. They not willing to give up their pot once they get it to even put anything back together or help the community at all because they don't want to lose their position and for doing whatever they got to do to get to where they're trying to get when we talking that upper level and all these other different entities. But
Correct.
it's just a sad story, man. But for the most part, man, do you got anything for the future that you're working on in terms of your activism or even with Hiking While Black?
Yes, I could talk about a little bit hiking while black a little bit. I'm gonna be hopefully soon working with some schools. That was the thing I was supposed to do last year, but I didn't because I didn't really, owning a business. Again, this is still new to me. You got to get waivers signed, all these other different things, and insurance and all this other stuff that I didn't really have. So that now is going in place to do those things to take kids from our community out into these spaces, safe spaces where they can just see and experience something different. And I'm working with two store owners with not only just hiking but talking about the importance of eating right and healthy eating and different things. I don't want to go into it too much because I feel like sometimes as black people, like I see something with Tyvis Smiley years ago and other people. Black people love talking about what we about to do, before we even do it, and again, when you have white people sitting down, white leaders of different nations, they ain't sitting down talking about publicly on a public platform what type of resources they're going to exploit out of Africa or where other they don't do that. Those things are done behind closed doors. And I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the black people we open our mouths too much before it can even come into play. And by opening your mouth talking about it, that's just bring negative energy. So I got some things in, I'm just not gonna really talk about it much until it's off the ground.
No, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah,
So at least you being able to recognize the realness of the situations and be able to cope with it in any way that you can, man. We only could do what we could do at the end of the day, and I just want to give you your flowers, bro, because that's what this platform is mainly for. Is for me to be able to give my flowers to people that I
appreciate it.
truly care about and respect, and that I feel like are trying to make a difference in some way, shape, or form, no matter what. Because the positive pressures out there just need to be displayed a little bit more because we're looking up to a lot of idiots in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just people that are lost. Some of them know better though. Some of them don't get to it. Some of them know better, and they choose to lead the people astray because because they're getting paid and they're getting told to do this and do that and the third. So some of them do know better. Some of those celebrities out there do know better, but it's a choice that they want to continue to do that.
Hmm. Last but not least, man, as we cap off towards the end of this, man, in terms of your company, in terms of the the business and that you started and things like that, can you let the people know about your social media handles, man, where maybe where they can get the shirt, watch your YouTube or things of that nature, so they can get into your content, family.
Okay. Hiking while black. You can look on YouTube. Put that in. You can see some of my videos. You can comment, subscribe. And Same thing with TikTok, Facebook. What else out there? Instagram, Twitter. It's all hiking while black. You can find me on there. And again, my goal was to try to do every single trail in New York State, which is probably impossible, but that gave me something to work for. I have done other states, done North Carolina, done Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. I'm gonna be coming to all, doing Virginia, doing other places, and eventually do and go in other countries. But anybody from any, like I'm saying, doesn't matter your nationality, your ethnicity. If you want to come along and hike with me, hit me up. All my info's there, and let's set something up.
Yeah, man. You know me, man. I definitely we been due for a session. I got to get up on there. I've been supporting it since day one, man, and
Correct.
it's cool to see what it's risen to, bro. So I definitely appreciate you and respect you for that, man. Word, I got to get
Appreciate you
on the
too,
segment.
King.
You got you got any shout outs, man? To anybody you wanna, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna shout out you, man. Thank you for having me on your platform, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, King, love you. Thanks for doing your thing, and I'm supporting you 1,000%. To your followers again, Arlie's a great dude, man, and he's as authentic as they come, and continue to support my brother. And I love the work that you do. And shout out to all the fallen soldiers out there, all the revolutionaries, and all the people that still fighting in the struggle.
Hey, man, y'all heard it here first. It's your boy Hollywood Welch on the line, Tyrone Welch, y'all. Listen, man, 914 stand up. Y'all already know what time it is. Another segment. It's Talk About It TV, episode 17, y'all. We out of here.
Peace and love.